The biggest threat to Christian nationalism is Jesus. Let me tell you why. And by the way, I mean the real Jesus, not the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus that wants you to be rich. That's a lie. I mean the dark-skinned Jesus that wasn't Christian, who grew up in occupied Palestine. That Jesus is the biggest threat to Christian nationalism because he stood for everything they don't like. That Jesus dignified women, healed the broken for free, and taught us to love the outcasts among us. That's the opposite of nationalism. Jesus told us to love everybody, but nationalism requires you to think you're better than everybody else. In this Sunday's gospel, for example, Jesus sets up a contrast between a Pharisee and a tax collector who are both praying. The Pharisee says, God, I thank you that I am not like other people, thieves and rogues and adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week. I give 1/10 of all my income. Tax collector simply prays, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. Now, the thing is, on the outside, the Pharisee did everything right. He prayed, he gave money, he fasted, but he was high on his own supply. The tax collector simply said, have mercy on me, a sinner. Nationalism requires abandoning humility. Jesus teaches us to start with it. I love you, all of you, and I'll see you out there.
White Jesus? You're not going to like this one. Jesus was not white. Revelation 1, lines 14 and 15. The hair on his head was white like wool. This doesn't feel like wool. How would somebody in that time describe coarse, curly hair? I don't know, I wasn't there. Line 15, his feet were bronze. That, my friends, is pink and a lack of flexibility. According to the book, he was born here, which today is known as this place of this place, often having people's olive or darker skin as a description. I would love if you took a minute and Googled people from that region to see what they look like aesthetically, so that maybe, just maybe, we could get off this white Jesus conversation once and for all. I've never even read the book. This is just, you're just able to find this information. Random disclaimer. The book does not reference his appearance outside of this statement. Side note, even if he was, what do you think he'd move to America and vote for who your interests are?
What color was Jesus? I was asked this today outside of the metro stop. I was administering ashes for Ash Wednesday, and this young black guy walks straight up to me and he says, what color was Jesus? And I am so glad that I know the right answer, because in my younger years, I would have said something completely different and completely wrong. And I told him, Jesus was black, and his face lit up, and he said, I never imagined in my wildest dreams that a white priest would admit that Jesus was black. And here's the thing, Jesus was obviously dark-skinned. That's unquestionable. But he was also ontologically black. He was born into an oppressive empire, and his life was threatened from day one. He knew what it was like to be hunted and to have the illusion of freedom. As James Cone said, the cross of Christ was the lynching tree in America. Jesus was lynched by Rome, just like so many black people in America. I'm not sure why Jesus being black is so threatening to some white Christians, but it is. You'll find out in the comments. So if it's threatening to you, maybe this Lent is an opportunity to go inward and find out why your Jesus needs to be white. Because Jesus was absolutely black. And that truth matters because if we're going to have a relationship with him, we need to recognize him first.
And don't you black people ever forget one thing. The man that helped Jesus carry that cross was a black man. And don't ever forget another thing. Jesus belongs to Africa as much as he does to Europe and Asia. He was born in that part of the world that touches Africa and Asia and Europe, and Jesus was not a white man like me, nor was he as black as some of you. We don't know what the color of his skin, but it must have been a dark color like the people of his day, because he was a man like them. Don't ever say it's a white man's religion or a black man's religion. It's a world religion.
Are you a white person who is fed up with other white people's shit? Because I'm fed up.
Now listen to me carefully, brothers.
Preaching is Jesus black, Jesus black, Jesus black. I tell them all the time, I don't care if Jesus is black. What difference is it going to make that you know that Jesus has some color in him?
Hello and what's up, good people? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and I believe you're doing great from wherever you're watching this video from. Now, just the other day, I happened to come across this documentary that was talking about the fall and the collapse of the so-called the mega churches of America and how they have quickly been losing popularity with the people. And this quite became so noticeable shortly after the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, I really thought to myself how this is not just an American phenomenon, but there's been a global trend and reckoning in which there is a generation of people who are beginning to really question what really goes on in those so-called mega churches, and not just in the mega churches, but the church in general, and you know, religion in itself. And today I want us to talk about something very relevant to it, and that there's been a long and heated debate about the true race and color of Jesus Christ, and even the name Jesus in itself, whether it holds some truth. And while many people will usually have been trying to dismiss this kind of discussion by saying, why does it matter the color of, you know, Jesus? The reality is it matters precisely because the truth matters. And talking about historically and geographically, Jesus was a man from what we know today as the Middle East, which historically was just an extension of what we know as today as Northern Africa, which is of course a region populated by people of color. Yet for many years, for centuries, the image of Jesus as told in the Bible and in the stories, you know, was deliberately whitewashed, you know, and that whitewashing, I can tell you for sure, was not accidental, but it served a purpose. It served an agenda, a power, a political, and a supremacy agenda. So today, what is happening is there's a growing awareness that Jesus was not white, and this awakening kind of poses a serious challenge to Christian nationalism, which is deeply entangled with white superiority and white supremacy. So, because, you know, when and if the foundation of this very superiority structure is exposed as false, the entire narrative begins to shake and, of course, collapse. Yeah. So I want us to watch some of the videos I have that I'm going to play in a minute. And I believe that perhaps at the end of this, we will be able to break down why the truth about Jesus's true race, true color matters, and why this threatens Christian nationalism, and why this was never just about faith, not just about religion. It was really about power and control. So let's watch this, and I'll be back with good commentary.
Was Jesus and Moses black?
My question is, why are we so stuck in this? Why does it really matter?
That's part of his whole religion, I guess.
No, it's not actually. We just follow the truth of the Bible. The only reason we have to establish the identity of anybody in the Bible is because Edomites or Europeans came and changed what they were.
Why would you assume we're from Europe?
Where else are you from? I remember Helen Thomas was a news reporter, Washington, D.C. for like 50 years, and she said, y'all should go back home. And they asked her, they said, where's home at? She said, Poland, Russia, and Germany. They fired her that night.
So
that's
a couple things.
Where you guys from? Y'all are not originally from the Middle East.
I actually have family from Spain. We are originally from the Middle
Spain
East,
is
but
not
also
the Middle East.
But also, my question to you is, what?
He said Spain like that was Middle East.
You lost the point for that.
I have relatives from Spain as well.
What's up, guys?
Yes.
But how did the Jews get to Europe? We just
no.
sprouted?
The bigger question is, how did y'all get to Israel?
Okay.
But, you know, historically, y'all wasn't looking for Israel first. You know, y'all went to Haiti, y'all went to South America, y'all was looking in Africa, y'all was looking anywhere to go.
If you look
originally. If you go back to the Belfort Act and all of that y'all did, that's why y'all have that war in Palestine, because you broke every treaty that you even had with the Palestinians.
That's a whole separate conversation.
No, you're asking, how did you get this? So y'all was thank you. So y'all was in Germany having war with another set of white people, because y'all all white. Y'all, America fights for y'all, and then they like, where are we going to place these people? And so again, if you look historically, they was going to place you in South America. They was going to place you in Haiti. They was going to place you in Africa. And then the Palestinians welcomed y'all with open arms, thinking that y'all was only going to bring a certain amount of people, thinking that y'all wasn't going to expand in certain other areas. And then what did y'all do, like white people do? Broke the treaties and just decided we're going to take more and more and more and more land from them.
Do you guys ever think about the fact that the reason the white evangelical church in America, or really the evangelical church period in the United States, is in the state that it's in essence, being the foundation, the bedrock of white Christian nationalism, patriarchy, capitalism, imperialism, colonialism, the military-industrial complex, Zionism, all of that? The reason it's so bad, so toxic, and so evil is because every single one of us who grew up in these spaces, who has tried to look for the truth, who has questioned, who has wrestled, who has challenged pastors and people of authority, we get ostracized, we get pushed out, we get othered, we get seen as heathens, we get seen as the unsaved, we get told we're going to go to hell. Y'all, I've been told in so many different ways, in so many different fashions, by so many white evangelicals in particular, that I was going to go to hell because of my questions, because of the wrestling, because of my convictions. And so for most of my life, that looked like me saying, all right, bet, I'm going to go find God and spirituality elsewhere. In the last 2 weeks or so, I've really had a come back to Yeshua, Jesus moment. And it's been like a tidal wave of like, these people have been bastardizing my name. They've been bastardizing God's name, Yahweh's name. They've been misusing and manipulating the gospel for so long for their own gain, their own purposes of domination, control, and just exploitation. And so when you have that veil lifted and you see all of it for what it is, there's many people who have known this, especially Black folks, Indigenous people. Basically, everyone who's not a white evangelical has had way more awareness and having their eyes open by force. When you live under occupation, when you live under colonialism, when you live under chattel slavery or slavery of any kind, and you see the white devil come in and misuse scripture, misuse the Bible, and use it as a justification for your oppression and their insanely violent treatment, you're going to start asking questions, especially if you know God, if you have a connection to the Most High, to the divine, and you see people misusing his name and the message of the gospel and who Jesus was. Of course, you're going to ask critical questions. And of course, you're going to be punished for that. And so that's exactly what has and will continue to happen, suppressing truth, convincing people that this is God, when what is claiming to be God, what is claiming to be Christian, what is claiming to be the gospel is the antithesis. I really do believe that this is the most masterful form of manipulation and propaganda that Satan, the enemy, darkness, evil could use. And so, yeah.
By now, everybody's seen these images that have been released by Russia. My guy in the video said that when Black people see these images, they should be upset. And you would think so, right? Have a look at this image here. This is Ebony Magazine from March 1969, almost exactly 55 years ago. This cover of Ebony Magazine was released. And then, you know what? You would think that everybody would be excited to see this image, right? Well, guess again. Black people were so upset to see this image on the cover of a black magazine that they threatened to cancel their subscription, and Ebony almost went out of business. So what does that say about us, huh? Are we so indoctrinated, or do we hate ourselves that much to where we don't want to see a savior that looks like us? The crazy part about all this is we're not the only ones that have been lied to. Everybody has been lied to. The biggest difference is us as a people have had our culture, our language, our identity, and our history stripped from us, among other things. You ain't tired yet?
Why y'all are so mad about Ariel being black? Because y'all turned Jesus white.
Literally, though. And Jesus was a person. Ariel is a fish.
Putin reveals to the world a secret that European has been hiding from African for more than a millennium, that Jesus was black.
Russia has opened its cellars to reveal remarkable paintings of Jesus dating back to the 1400s. Have you ever seen or heard of biblical icons where Jesus or the Virgin Mary have dark skin? Or even Abraham or King David? Then look beyond Europe. Russia has opened its vaults to reveal biblical icons featuring darker-skinned figures. In case this is making you wonder if Russia has its own twist on biblical figures, the answer is a no. This is not the case at all. This is, a matter of fact, as real as the untouched horizon of time. These icons aren't just artistic anomalies. These hold deep meanings of hidden shaded truths, sparking serious, curious questions about history and faith, representation, and the unexpected corners of religious art. Pay close attention, amazing people. You are just about to hear it today, like it is, in this video. In the Bible, that the Americans turned white when they told the stories to us. But Russians didn't get the memo. They went off for real history. Songs of Solomon. USA is also a great deceiver, and so many people inherit the wrong lesson from their great-grandparents and their parents, to the point where it's so deep that the lie is made true when the real answer is really just right there. But you never look, because why would you?
San Angelo in Rome is currently hosting an exhibition of 40 Russian icons that have left their country for the first time. They are pieces of art that were hidden after the October Revolution of 1917 in order to protect them from anti-religious destruction.
There's been so much debate going on around the world of late, bestirred by the unveiling of these black biblical icons. Some tend to think that the icons had blackened over time due to age, while others say that the blackness of the icons has nothing to do with age, but are a measure of accuracy meant to depict the actual color of the skins of the people.
Has decided to move one of Russia's holiest icons from a museum to a Moscow cathedral. This arises a debate around Putin's growing reliance on the church.
Emphasizing on the importance of the holy icon,
see how Russia keep their old architecture too.
Rublev's Trinity be transferred to the Russian Orthodox Church from Moscow's Tretyakov Gallery for a year. The relocation of Russia's most well-known icon highlights how closely the war has intertwined politics and religion. The icon depicts the oak of Mamre, where the three angels visited Abraham in the book of Genesis.
Did you notice anything about these icons on display? They are all black. Icons dating back to the 14th century, brought together from private collections across Russia. Rare and strongly challenging masterpieces, most of which were destroyed during the Soviet era.
It's very beautiful. It gives you goose pimples. It's a remarkable exhibition.
That man just had goose pimples.
The senses. Everything is so
ugly
in the moment, and here suddenly it's a feast for the eyes.
These icons that you see are the survivors of what is left. Had the museums not saved them, they wouldn't be existing today. There used to be millions
so
of these
imagine how much
icons,
they
but now only
buried.
50,000 of them are within sight. The unveiling of these icons is a powerful testament to the enduring strength of truth. The authenticity of these paintings compels us to re-evaluate our understanding of the past, particularly regarding the presence and representation of black figures. For centuries, these figures may have been shrouded in obscurity, but their rediscovery sheds light on previously untold stories, standing as a challenge to long-held assumptions, prompting us to rewrite history with a more inclusive lens. Many Russian icons were destroyed or sold abroad by agents of the Soviet government. Some were hidden to avoid destruction, or were smuggled out of the country.
Shout out to them.
Since the fall of communism, Numbers of icon painting studios have again opened and are painting in a variety of styles for the local and international market. Many older, hidden icons have also been retrieved from hiding or brought back from overseas.
The Castile said.
So Israel, the biblical Israel, was a black nation, an African nation that came out of Africa and kept constant ties with Africa. And so we have to remember then that Jesus was a black Messiah, not a white Messiah, and he comes out of the whole historical background of Africa, of African traditions, of African history, of African culture, the concept of communalism, the concept of a chosen people, the concept of kingdom of God on earth. All these things were out of African tradition, not out of the white man's tradition. And Jesus was essentially a revolutionary Messiah who was trying to lead a black people in a revolt, in a struggle and conflict with a white Gentile oppressor. So the whole church has to be viewed from the point of view of the white oppressor. The white oppressor has one kind of Christianity, has one kind of church. The black church has to become independent and go back to the historic African roots of Christianity.
I believe Jesus Christ was black, and the mainstream is trying to hide that information. And here are the verses that lead me to believe that he was black. This is Revelation chapter 1, verses 13 through. This is John speaking. John was an apostle of Jesus Christ, and he's having a vision on an island, okay? And he's saying, and in the middle of the lampstands, I saw one like a son of man, clothed in a robe reaching to the feet, and girded across his chest with a golden sash. His head and his hair were white, like white wool, like snow, and his eyes were like a flame of fire, and his feet were like burnished bronze. The reason why I think Jesus is black is because of this part, burnished bronze. This is a brown color. Let me show you. This is burnished bronze, as you can see on Google. You can Google this yourself. This is a black person. Now, some people will be like, oh, well, John's just having a vision. It doesn't mean it's actually what it was. But you know that God is giving John the vision, right? God is allowing John to see all this stuff, the future, to see Christ. And God showed him Christ as a burnished bronze colored man. Okay, so that's what he looks like. Now, if you're already triggered by this video and you find yourself saying, nah, Jesus was not black, and don't you say that he was. If that's how you feel, then possibly there's a deeper and darker, pun intended, issue within you that you need to check. John continues, this is chapter 4 of Revelation. Immediately I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was standing in heaven, and one sitting on the throne. And he who was sitting was like a jasper stone and a sardius in appearance. Sardius is a reddish brown. This is a dedicated red, brown, dark tan color. Is there any historical backing for Jesus being black outside of the Bible? Well, there's certainly a lot of artwork that depicts Jesus as black. This is a painting from 1797 in Russia of a black Jesus. And some people might be like, oh, well, maybe they just didn't have the skin color for white. Well, look at the halo. The halo is certainly light colored. They could have painted Jesus white if they wanted to, but they didn't. They didn't. Why would they do that? Because Jesus is probably actually black. This is a 1497 painting in Russia. Look at these apostles. These are the disciples. Black men with afros. Afro, 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 all over. Jesus, the Messiah, as a black man with an afro. These are white Russians painting a black Jesus and black disciples. So you got to ask yourself, why are they doing this? Are they doing this because they just love black people so much? Or are they just trying to be accurate? I could do this all day, really. There's all kinds of old school artwork of black Jesus, black disciples, Black Mary, black angels, black saints, all kinds of stuff. And some of you guys may be saying, oh, well, what does it matter? It just doesn't matter. It's not a salvation issue. It doesn't matter what his color is. It does matter. It mattered enough for the mainstream and the matrix to change his skin color, so it matters to know the truth. If Jesus turns out his skin color was turquoise, I want to know that. Why? Because I want to know the truth. If it turned out that he was translucent, I want to know that he was translucent. If it turned out that he was factually and historically white, I want to know that and I would accept. But it seems like we're being lied to about Jesus being black. And I got all kinds of stuff to say about, being black and what it really means.
He had feet like burnt brass and hair like lamb's wool. The only person on earth with hair like this is Christ. Christ was an African.
And I'm right with the name Jesus.
Yes.
Only appears on our alphabet as of 500 years ago. So
And
the
he
question,
lived way before 500.
1,500 years prior to that. So the question is, if on the Hebrew charts and on hieroglyphics and on Italian writings and Greek writings, J is not there, what is the agenda of the Catholic system converting from Yeshua to Joshua? And as if that is not enough, the first rule of academic excellence in terms of translations of scripture,
Okay.
you don't translate a name. You don't translate a name. It's a crime. Mount Carmel remains Mount Carmel.
Hence, slavery was the biggest crime, to take away people's names.
Moses remains Moses.
Right.
You don't translate a name. So if you teach me as an academician and say, this is the rule that you must follow,
Right.
then how come when I get on Yeshua, the name is translated to Jesus and it's non-consequential?
Do you think there's an agenda to dilute the true scriptures of what the Bible's supposed to be? Was there an agenda to even minimize African significance in the Bible?
If we can go back on the text itself, you would find that the European does not appear on the text. Let's agree on that as a start-off point. The only time you see the European appearing on the text is on writings such as the Romans, which is a New Testament phenomenon.
That Paul.
Herod.
Okay.
When Yeshua was born, he was being taken to be counted. By who? By the Roman Empire. Then the Romans start appearing in the New Testament. In fact, they don't appear as much except as oppressors. The crucifixion of Yeshua happens in the hands of the Romans, who are the Europeans. If you look just on the crucifixion weekend,
Yes.
as to who crucified him, who carried the cross, who buried him, you'll end up with two criminals and Yeshua dying between two thieves in the east and in the west. And Africa being at the center of the cross, we have thieves from the east, we have thieves from the west. The question is, how are we dealing with the Chinese? How are we dealing with the Americans? But that's more at a spiritual level.
100%.
But in the history space itself, Joseph of Arimathea, Simon of Cyrene, and etc., people who come to rescue Yeshua on the cross are fellow black people.
How so? Simon was from?
Cyrene. Cyrene is Sudan.
So this is true
In your text.
evidence of there were Africans at the time of crucifixion.
Really?
But what could be their presence be there for? Was Jesus their brotherhood or?
We will need to, yes, I hear where you're going. We will need to look back into the birth of this young man, born in the, and by the way, Middle East only becomes Middle East as of the 1950s, when the Suez Canal is dug to separate North Africa with what we now call Middle East.
Correct.
We are literally separated by a canal. But the tectonics and the formation of the continent, Africa includes the entire Middle East.
100%. Hence we say Africa and Middle East.
So what we call Middle East is actually a political thing. It's supposed to be called North Africa.
100%.
For practical purposes. So he's born in North Africa.
Jesus.
Yeshua himself. So we want to understand, how does a black boy born in North Africa leave Africa and go to Europe and come back with blue eyes, blonde hair? And then you ask me, is there an agenda? If you don't believe there's an agenda, then tell me and quit your profession as a media person, because advertising means nothing.
Yes.
Because how can you package the Messiah in the same look of the oppressor and then hope that the oppressed will not look you as related to their savior? And fighting and killing you will mean I'm killing the same blood that my savior is born out of. Tell me,
hair like wool, eyes like a flame of fire, feet like fine brass, as if they were burned in a furnace.
So it's said that people are burning the Bible. And why are they burning the Bible, you may ask? Well, I'm here to tell you why. They are burning the Bible because they found out that the Messiah was melanated. So firstly, let's define what is melanated. It derives from the word melanin. So with all of that being said, we can agree that the Messiah was black. And because he was black, people are mad and upset. But I'm pretty sure it said somewhere in the Bible that his skin was melanin and his hair is of locks. And I think with all these attributes, you would agree that he's from the origin of black people. But some races are not happy with this. The fact that President Putin brought this to light. So when they come to you and they say color doesn't matter, now you see it is a big lie. But let's put aside all of that. Clearly these people does not fear the Lord. Because this takes more than a brave man. And this is not about race now. It's about the heart of the people. To just pick up a good book and burn it. We're living in the last days. And take a look at the image displayed. All of that in the back of that trailer are burnt Bibles. So you can see these people are big mad. Is this poetic justice? Or is just the signs of time? But forgive them, Father. They don't know what they did.
Yes, my people. White people, why are you all getting so upset when you hear that Jesus is black? And for 2,000 years, black people have been accepting, most of them have been accepting your lies that Jesus is white. And they accepted this white Jesus for so many years. But now, it's not a black man that put it out, that showed the paintings, that Jesus is black and the Israelites and whosoever else is black. It's a white man. Putin is what? A black or a white man. It's not a white man showed us finally that Jesus is white. So why are you all getting so upset and texting and carrying on as if it's black people racist? It's you racist. I curse my own when they are wrong. Martin Luther King tell you that don't condone with the wrongs of your own race. If you watch my videos, look in my profile, I curse my own black people when they are wrong. Because a lot of them are wrong. A lot of them are dready. And some are. Because I'm living it, I've been through it. Yeah. A lot of them betrayed us and keep on betraying us. That's why Africa is taking so long to rise. I have all of those videos in my profile. Because I'm living it here. I see the system. As Nelson Mandela told us, you have black domination as you have white domination. I live it here with my black people, doing a whole host of crap and keep selling us out. They are also in the system doing foolishness. Yeah. Is a white man show that Jesus is black enough? Because some of these white people realize that their own ancestors have been fooling them and lying to them for years. And they know that judgment is upon the land. Judgment is going to be upon them for all of the lies that they have told. They have slaved us, put us through so much hell. Lots of white people know that judgment is upon them. So they want to make their way clear. Because I said it before, white people are going to help us. Guys, not all white people are bad. A lot of you texting and carrying on. Listen, man. Unapologetically. Eh? You want me to say it again? Unapologetically, I say Jesus is black. And I'm not going to take it back. I've been saying it for many years. So I don't give a damn what you want to say. Yeah. You keep on texting and talking about a crap as if I am afraid to say what I mean. Or believe. Or know is true. Jesus is black. And we as chosen know that all along. And we're not gonna apologize. for what we know is true. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not racist. I love all people. I talk it all the time in my profile. The videos are there. I love all people once they are with me. Once you're working with me, I'm working with you. You really came from the line of Cain. Yeah. That's why you show that most of all, you really came from the line of Cain. Will always have jealousy and envy. If you came from black people, you, white people, you came from us. And if you came from us, all race came from us, then we have to be the founded creator. The King of Kings is black. Mother Nature is black, is a black woman. She's the source. She gave birth to all race. You're telling me about he is Jewish and he was this and he was that and he was that. The Garden of Eden is in Africa. If you read Genesis, it tell you the river down to the river Nile. Ethiopia. It is right there in Genesis, Ethiopia. Right in when they're talking about the creation of the world and Garden of Eden. Go and read your Bible. That's where mankind was originated from. That's where mankind came from. And that is black people's land. You all came from us. So God has to be black and the goddess has to be black. You're talking about color don't matter. Color matters because why you put everybody. Why you taught us that everyone is white. Jesus is white. Mary Magdalene is white. His mother is white. Joseph, white. All of the Israelites, white. Abraham, why you show them in shows that all of them is white if color doesn't matter? If it doesn't matter to you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because I'm not going to apologize for what I say. I say what I say and I'm going to say it again and again and I will say it again and again. Jesus is black and that is it. The truth is out. We're tired of the lies and the foolishness. White people are tired of it too. Lots of them. They know that judgment is upon their heads because of their ancestors. And some of them are trying to make it right. Yeah. The King of Kings is black. Take care of yourself and the Queen will always see you again, my lovely people. Love you.
All right, welcome back. So, let's start with asking ourselves why people say color doesn't matter, and why I personally really find that as not very honest. That's quite dishonest to dismiss the whole conversation by saying color doesn't matter, or why does the color of Jesus matter? You often hear people say this: Jesus's color doesn't matter. But here's the contradiction, though, and why I find it very dishonest. If it truly didn't matter, there would have been no need in the beginning to change this, to change his color, to whitewash Jesus and his story. The truth is, his image was altered, his story was repackaged, and his identity was basically reshaped to fit a Eurocentric or a European power design, power structure. That alone tells you that color mattered to those in power. And now, when the truth begins to resurface, and that's what is happening, that's what is going on, suddenly we're told it's irrelevant, that is not fairness. That's not being neutral. That's what is known as damage control. So, Jesus, as a person of color, really threatens Christian nationalism. I can tell you for sure. Because Christian nationalism depends on a specific image of Jesus. a white Jesus, white moral authority, white divine hierarchy, you know. So because when Jesus in their stories in this case is presented as white, it subconsciously reinforces that idea. The idea that whiteness is closer to God, authority looks European and Caucasian, and power is inherited, not to be questioned. And that's basically what they tell us in those churches. Don't question, just take it, just swallow it. But when people accept that Jesus was a man of color, was a black man in that case, born in a colonized region under the Roman occupation, the entire hierarchy begins to collapse. Suddenly, the oppressed, who are the rest of Jesus, in this case, begin to get centered. The empire is exposed. Supremacy loses divine justification that they have been relying on. And that's actually the real threat. So, this was never about faith. It is about power. Even today, whitewashing Jesus was not about, an innocent artistic choice, not by any chance. If you look at this, it happened alongside colonization, slavery, forced conversion, cultural erasure, invasion of other people's lands, coincidentally. So now, Christianity was weaponized to justify domination, while Jesus himself, who challenged the empire, challenged hierarchy and oppression, was really stripped of his historical reality in the very first place. Now, you can separate a white Jesus from enslavement of black Africans, genocide of indigenous peoples, and cultural destruction across the global south. And that is what really took place. This was theology used as or packaged as political control. Now, the truth here is the real issue. And the problem is not that is not that people worship Jesus. The problem is worshiping a lie that was created to uphold control, to uphold dominance. The truth matters because lies sustain injustice, and false narratives protect the status quo, or rather protect power as it is today. And supremacy collapses the moment the truth is exposed, So acknowledging the real Jesus does not really weaken faith, to be honest. It exposes, systems that abused faith for power, for control. That's the truth. If you really acknowledge that Jesus was a black person, it should not question your own faith. It should not weaken your faith. It really questions the structures and the lies that have been being told. Now, also something here is, and I often point out to this, is that there is an inferiority complex behind forced dominance. Now, let me explain. One uncomfortable reality is you don't force your culture, your religion, your ways of life, your identity on others unless you feel threatened. Throughout history, European powers forced languages, forced religion, forced identities, not because they were secure, I believe because they were not. Because we don't find anywhere else where black people have forced white people to be like them. We live and let live. Now, true confidence allows coexistence. You can do your own things your own way, and let me do my own things my own way, and we can coexist. In fact, if I feel like you're doing your things in a way that I feel I can borrow, then that's okay. But you don't have to force it on me. I should be able to choose whether, it fits my ways of life how you do your things, or if it doesn't, then I can, let you do yours and I can do mine my own way. But that wasn't the case with European dominance of, other people. Now, why does this moment matter? Or why does it matter currently? So today, many and more white people and more black people, of course, are openly acknowledging the historical truth. Because when people realize Jesus was not white, Christianity was politicized, supremacy was fabricated, whiteness was a manufactured concept, then Christian nationalism loses moral authority. White supremacy loses authority. It loses the propaganda that has sustained it. And once the authority is gone, the system begins to unravel. Now, this conversation is not about hating on white people. It's not about pitting black people or people of color against white people. It is about dismantling a false power structure in white superiority and white supremacy. It's not about attacking Christianity. It is about exposing how it was hijacked in the first place. It is not about rewriting history. It's about restoring the truth in history, because when the truth finally, and I say when the truth finally stands, power built on lies cannot survive. Yes, so that's what I had for you in this video, and I hope you have learned something. And if you have something to share with me, then you can go ahead and share that with me in the comment section below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it as well. And subscribe to the channel if you're new, if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next video.